Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Audie.
And I'm Tim.
Welcome to this week's episode of Adventures and Mousecapades.
This week, we've been planning for a future Florida trip in 2026 and looking at February or April as options during our breaks from school for Sterling. And we realized that we really can't go in February.
Nope.
And Alicia, why is that? Why can't we go to Florida in February anymore?
Because it's Festival of the Arts, and that is too dangerous for our wallet.
Yes. We have learned, do not go to Festival of the Arts unless you want to drop some serious greenbacks.
We want to buy so many canvases when we're there.
Yes. Well, as you heard this week, we are talking with our dear friends Audie and Tim again. We met them back in 2013 on our first Panama Canal cruise on the Disney Wonder. Audie and Tim were on one of the very first media cruises on the Disney Treasure, and we are going to hear from them a bit about their experience on Disney's newest cruise ship. Audie and Tim, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having us.
It's good to be back on.
Yeah. You've had so many trips that we meant to connect on and we just didn't. You've been all over the world, it seems.
We have. We do enjoy to travel. Imagine that. Travel agency like to travel.
Yeah, exactly. When Tim's not in tax season, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, how the heck did you guys get invited onto this preview cruise?
They've been showing off this beautiful ship for a while now. They had a cast member cruise over the Thanksgiving weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Once they had the christening in New York. And I don't know if you guys got to see any of that. It was super fantastic. We were told by several crew members that they actually programmed the horns to play New York, New York.
Wow.
And it made me say, why wasn't I invited to that too? So the first round of previews, once she came back, and after she did all of her safety things with the Coast Guard,
right,
was for media. And then Diamond and Platinum earmarked agencies. And so as a Platinum earmarked agency, we got the invite. And when our owner, Pam Forrester, called and said, would you guys like to go on the Treasure? We went, yeah, should we start packing now? And as it happens, we were in the world for the week prior to this 3-night cruise with our little granddaughter celebrating her 10th birthday trip. And it was a really nice way to transition that. And her dad met us and took her back to Corpus Christi, and we left for Port Canaveral.
Very, very cool. So the Disney Treasure is DCL's 6th ship overall. It's the 2nd ship of the Triton/Wish class. What were your first impressions getting on board?
Oh my gosh. That really was. And I wish everyone could see my face because it was absolutely breathtaking. The ship is very thoughtfully designed. So when they decided that adventure was going to be the theme, they knew they wanted it to be bold adventure, yet I forget all the words that Disney uses, but for me, it was warm and cozy adventure because the palette of the ship is jewel tones, deep jewel tones too. It's the sapphires and the dark rubies and the dark emeralds, and it's just absolutely stunning. It's got this very calming palette to it, and from the moment you step on, so the cast, if you've never been on a Disney cruise, it's such a cute way to get on the ship because they ask you your name and then they name the ship. And so it's like Disney Treasure welcoming the Lawley family.
Yeah.
They do that on every ship and it's a lot of fun. And it's typically the officers in their whites that are standing there to greet you. Well, on the Treasure, the officers are all wearing adventure outfits.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
So, I maybe should have said spoiler alert for those who still sorry. But at this point, are there really any spoilers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you come on, it doesn't have that formal feeling,
Yeah.
that it's just this real welcoming into the adventure feeling.
Yeah.
So it's just stunning. It's just stunning.
Tim, what were
I
your
was
thoughts?
I would use the word approachable.
Okay.
I mean, you just feel like you're being welcomed into the story that they've created on board, and it's really uncanny because it's the same footprint as the Wish, but it has a completely different vibe than the Wish. And I'm not really. We talked to a lot of crew members about that vibe aspect, and it seemed to be universal across the cast that it's a combination of the color palette and I just it's almost like an intangible thing, but the common thread is that it seems very much like home when you come on board, and it's brand new to all of us. I mean, it was our first time on it.
Right.
Within hours, you felt like you were home.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is there a entry show? I don't know what to call it other than that. I know on the Wish, the little stage there they have in that main area, there's a show that they do. And you also get a wand when you get onto the Wish. Was there anything like that for the Treasure?
No, we were welcomed in by, well, not for us when we got on at that moment, but we were welcomed in by Aladdin and Jasmine, who were up in the balcony.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was super cool, and they were waving to everybody. But there wasn't like a show on the stage or anything that you were handed. But then again, that could be something you're holding back for real guests.
True.
Okay.
True. Well, you're real people too. Was
But that
this?
that
Go
may
ahead.
have lended itself to the whole approachable thing. Is that you everybody kind of felt like they were just walking into a favorite grandparents house. You just felt like this is home. There were no accoutrement being handed out, and Audie's right. They probably will hold something back for when regular paying customers, guests come on board. But yeah, there was no pre-show or anything like that. For the boarding.
And I guess that's a good disclaimer. You guys were hosted by Disney, right? Did you
Yes.
like the fare was paid for? I'm assuming you were still paying for drinks and anything extra that you did, but
Oh yeah.
So when Disney hosts these preview cruises, they will invite you, and they take care of. So as an invited guest, you have access to everything like a regular cruise, because they're wanting you to come and experience everything, so that for us as travel agents, so that we can get our guests excited, and for the media, so that they can begin to tell others how amazing the cruise is. And it was really a lot of fun because a lot of the media were able to bring their family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it was really kind of fun to be able to watch the kids come on board. Because, we've been on ship tours and preview cruises before, but it's mostly adults.
Right.
This time around, as media came on board, they were able to have their littles with them, and the kids were just so cute. Just so much fun to watch.
Were the kids clubs open?
Yes, they were.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, they were. And it was like a normal sailing in that there were open house times that we could tour as adults. But they were closed too, so that the kids could have the clubs like a normal cruise for kids.
Right.
And that's by design.
Of course.
But it was a lot of fun. And when we get to talking about the Kids Club, I can't wait to share with you all my favorite part.
You got it. We'll put a pin in that.
We've seen on social media that there were a bunch of folks from Disney Parks and Imagineering on board for your cruise. Did you talk to a bunch of Imagineers?
We talked to several, as well as Disney Media. We actually got to see the director from Coco walk by our table in Palo. And it was very difficult not to get up and go, I loved Coco. But I didn't. Tim and the sommelier talked me off the ledge. But yeah, so it was really a lot of fun. We got to visit with some of our good friends from Walt Disney Travel Company and the Disney destinations. There was several of their marketing people on board who we've met in the past. Several of the sales team was on board that we've gotten to meet in the past. A lot of the DCL executives were on board as well, and we got to visit with a few. So it was great. It was amazing. At one Q&A, there was actually 7 different executives on board with Disney Cruise Line who were part of the Q&A that told us a little bit of the story of the treasure, and each of them were responsible for a certain part of its design and process. And I will say there was a couple of times I was a little teary.
We had the pleasure to speak to a few people involved with the project when we were at D23 at the Fan Expo, and it was so cool to see all of the thought and ingenuity and imagination that went into everything about the ship, of the design and interiors, and what we've seen online are just, we can't wait to see it in person.
It was really unusual in that this particular ship, there's a lot of layering that's done throughout the ship and the theme and the story, just a lot of layering. And it goes beyond just the color palette and, the carpet and the cool way the light fixtures in the hallway cast shadows of the characters on the ceiling. It's amazing.
Cool.
But so, originally Walt Disney's, his desire was to bring adventure to the world through entertainment, imagination, and always in an excellent way. Walt himself had a phrase that he used. He would call it plussing. And so that was always him. And so it takes you a bit to kind of follow those layers, but it's amazing how they lead back to Walt.
Yeah.
And it's like the cruise line, urban legend says it was, one of the things that floated around in his brain. But I'm sure there was a lot of things that floated around in his brain. But this feels very much like a Walt Disney project, not the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah.
This feels like a Walt Disney project. It's incredible.
That's so great. That's so great. My brain keeps going to compare things against the Wish, and I want to put a pin in that too. Like we'll get around to that. I'm sure it'll fall out, but I do have one question kind of as we're talking about the broad theming and layout of the ship here up front. Like, were there any significant changes that you noticed from the Wish? Like they've, big issues or small issues that they've fixed. Like we know they've at least put real buttons in the elevators from the get-go. Were there any other, did they move any walls or tweak any, where columns are, things like that?
Well, the footprint felt exactly the same to me as the Wish. The thing that I noticed that was different was they seemed to have put a lot more thought into the transitions between areas.
Okay.
The flow on the treasure was just, it wasn't jolting.
Right.
You left the grand hall and moved down the hallway, either left or right, away from the restaurant. It just felt natural that you were moving through like Disney movies,
right?
And I'll say this about the attention to detail on the treasure is just mind blowing. It's almost like you're walking through, Epcot, the mosaics and the art that you mentioned at the very beginning about not going during the Festival of the Arts because of the fear that you would purchase so much. I swear every nook and cranny on that ship is got beautiful tapestries, beautiful mosaic tower, beautiful paintings,
3-dimensional art.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I think it's very similar, and I don't know. I've only been on the Wish, the one time, so I don't know that I could tell that there is any design differences in terms of structural. But you're standing there in the Haunted Mansion lounge, and you realize, okay, this is literally the same spot as the Hyperspace Lounge on the Wish. So I didn't notice anything glaringly different in terms of structural design, but definitely did feel something different in terms of just the flow. Just seemed to be so much more that they really thought through how they were going to move you from one area to the next without really. It felt like, when you go in the lands of the Magic Kingdom, and you go from Fantasyland to Tomorrowland, it's just an easy transition. It kind of felt that way on the Treasure.
Right. Excellent.
So when you first come into the main Grand Hall, the Wish, when you're walking in to your right is a hallway, and that's where Nightingale's is the piano bar.
Right.
Well, on the Treasure, it's Scat Cats. It's a shout out to the Aristocats. It's absolutely adorable. But the Nightingale's is closed. You can't see it from the Grand Hall. Whereas they took off that wall on that corner, and it's an open bar. So that looks through.
Two-way bar.
Yeah, that looks through into Scat Cats. And so the bartenders can go around the bar and they can serve into the lounge as well as to those guests who sit on the stools that are outside in the Grand Hall. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And you think that you look over and you go, what is that?
Yeah.
But it only takes you a moment to realize, it's Scat Cats, because of the theming is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then there were some other things, like in the staterooms, there's a little bit more. I think they added some more ports for your electronics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's more USB ports, and there's more of those teeny tiny ones that people use. I'm not an IR, so I don't know what they're called.
USB-C, I think.
They have more USB-C ports. Yeah.
Thank you. There you go.
And you really like what they did with the trash can.
I was fixing to say, and my favorite all time, two things. So you know how on the other ships the phone sits on the little tiny nightstand next to your bed?
Yeah,
It
that always gets in the way.
Yeah, and so most people either unplug it or stick it on the floor.
Uh-huh.
It's on the wall in the desk.
Oh, nice.
Oh, perfect.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And my favorite in the room is how many have kicked the trash can when you get up in the middle of the night for a potty break. The trash can now has its own little cubby in the desk.
Oh, perfect.
Brilliant.
They just took advantage of some dead space and put a little triangular trash can.
Yes,
so you
and they
no longer have that trip hazard.
Yeah, and then they repositioned the mirror just a little. It's kind of moved more to the right so that they could make room for another long drawer above the pull-out mini fridge.
Right.
So there is a little bit more room to unpack, which is nice since it is a 7-night cruise.
Yes.
That was one of our main questions was, how's the storage? Did they provide more? So that is good to hear.
Well, I think they, in the Wish, in the closets, there were shelving, but the shelving was really tall. And so it was like, you could stack your entire family's shorts in one cubby and still have room. And then you have to pull everything out to get the one pair of shorts.
Right.
Well, they put in a few more shelves, so there's a little more ways to separate your things.
It's a little more functional.
Yes. And so it's lovely. We were in a category 5B.
Okay.
And so and we happened to be assigned a stateroom that was right next door to one of the bump out ones that due to the ship's design, there are some that have a balcony that are a bit longer.
Right.
And while ours didn't have the full length, it had kind of this little triangular. And we both looked at each other and went, do you think anybody will notice if we just stay out here for the next few previews? Because that is a lovely, lovely location. It was just great. And that balcony was just perfect for enjoying the sea day.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get on this ship. I can't wait.
What was the theme in your room?
Nemo.
We had Nemo.
We had Finding
cute.
Nemo.
That's cool.
And I will say that we mentioned at the very beginning the color palette, and it's heavy on the nautical blues. But in the staterooms, there's a lot of. It reminded me a little bit of the Riviera, they kind of went with a brighter palette, whites,
Mhm.
and some and not lighter paneling.
Mhm.
It just gives the illusion. I'm not sure that the square footage is all that different in the rooms,
Yeah.
but it felt bigger and brighter because of the colors they chose.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was really really nice.
Yeah,
Again,
the hallways all have the lighter color wall panels.
Mhm.
It's kind of a creamy white.
Okay.
That's the color of the wall panels in the closets and your walls. The bathrooms are whiter, brighter. And so it does give that perception of more space, but
Mhm.
it's the exact same as the Wish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was lovely.
Did you get to tour any of the very fancy suites?
oh,
Boy, did we ever.
yes, we got
Oh,
to
did we
see
ever. And we said,
one.
let's get back to work. So we did tour a one-bedroom concierge as well as the concierge deluxe ocean view, which, as you know, is new on the Wish, and it's a
Mhm.
beautiful room. The square footage in that
Yes.
one
We
is
had one of
absolutely
those. Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I could cozy up with a book over by those windows all day, every day.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
But those are also beautiful rooms. And like the others, on the other ships, the one bedroom has the multiple bathrooms,
Mhm.
two full bathrooms. The color palette is amazing. Little tiny rabbit hole I got to go on. One bed we did Disney Magic in November, and their concierge rooms have just recently been refurbished,
Okay.
and they're stunning. They're absolutely stunning. And so I kind of had like this really high bar set for the concierge rooms
Yeah.
since we just got off the Magic, and they felt brand new. Um, but oh, wow, is all I can say. So the Raja two-bedroom suite, we got to tour the stateroom 1300. So if
Mhm.
anybody out there has got that one booked, man, oh man, be prepared to pick your jaw up off the floor when you walk in. It is absolutely gorgeous. When you walk in, there's artwork, there's tapestry, the mosaics in the bathroom. They are just absolutely breathtaking, and they're this beautiful deep blue and dark reds throughout the stateroom. Um, Raja is in all of the various tapestries and tile work. It's a two-bedroom, three-bathroom. Your veranda has a full jacuzzi tub, so hot tub, sorry,
Yeah.
and then it also has a table that seats six that sits out on your veranda. And even though both of those things are out on the veranda, you could invite a dozen friends to do your morning yoga out there on that. It's just phenomenal. The bathroom and the upstairs master bedroom, I think, was one of the most impressive views in the entire ship. And of course, it has, I mean, it's just solid glass wall.
Yeah.
And of course, it has the magic button that frosts the windows so that, when you're in port and wanting to, soak in your tub, it's going to be family friendly. And so, I mean, and it is just stunning. You could live in a closet in this
Yeah.
stateroom. It is just, it was really, really beautiful. It's 1,759 square feet.
Wow.
It has a spiral staircase that leads to the upstairs where the master bedroom is.
That's bigger than our first house.
How many does it sleep?
That particular room sleeps six. So there's the master bedroom is a king. There's a king bed in the second bedroom.
Okay.
And then the sleeper sofa is a double or a queen size sleeper sofa. And so it sleeps six. And it's nothing short of phenomenal. It was beautiful. And again, it's all the lighter colors on the walls. It's the white marble on the countertop in the kitchen with your fully stocked full-size refrigerator that you pull out the freezer part. It's stocked with Mickey sandwiches, ice cream sandwiches.
It was my favorite of the rooms we toured, even more than the funnel.
Yeah.
I thought the Raja suite was phenomenal.
Well, great transition. What was the funnel suite like? This is Epcot themed, right?
Tomorrowland
It was really something, and there was the wow things that you would expect, but the simplest thing that I noticed that I thought was most impactful were the chandeliers or the lighting that they chose in the main part. I mean, it's a 2-story room set up, but as you walk in, they have because back up a little bit. Before we toured it, we were at Currents, which is the bar up on the 13th deck, and when we were facing back towards the funnel where the room is, and we noticed there were all these colored lights inside the room, and we were curious. It looked like the painting room in Imagineering or in the studios. So the purples and greens and oranges.
Yeah.
Well, when we toured the room, we found out it's just a crystal. It's just refracted light.
Oh, wow.
So depending upon what time of day or what angle you have, you're getting a completely different color palette projected across the room. It's just
cool.
The panels, the Alucobond panels of Spaceship Earth are present inside the funnel suite, and Figment is everywhere, and it's a great reminder that when you book travel for someone, not to use your own pocketbook as a as a guide, because I know there's people that book that, and it's no big deal, the price point for them on that. But if we stayed there, I don't know that I would ever leave. I mean, it is just that opulent and comfortable. I mean, the rooms are nicely sized. The kids' bedroom, they had it was kind of like was a Star Wars theme, right? I mean, it looked like.
It reminded me of the Star Cruiser.
Yeah, it had the
way
bed.
that it was designed. Yeah.
Right.
Little bitty robes in the closet.
It was so cute. So the Tower Suite is 1,966 square feet.
Okay.
It has 3 full bedrooms, and each of the bedrooms has a full bath. So there's 2 master suites upstairs, and they kind of mirror each other, with the exception that one has a much larger bathroom.
Okay.
And the other one has a large bathroom. So, there's like the massive bathroom, and then there's the very large bathroom. And then the kids' room has the 2 bunk beds and a full bathroom. Downstairs, what they call the study or the office has a sleeper sofa that pulls out, and it sleeps 2. And it also has a Murphy bed and a full bathroom. And that bathroom in that particular room is accessible.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the Tower Suite is 100% accessible. And then, of course, it has a full living room with that beautiful chandelier that Tim was explaining.
Right.
And then it has like a little pantry kitchen. It has a private stairwell and a private elevator.
Wow.
So it's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. It wouldn't be a bad place to retire, but I don't have to work a really long time.
It is crazy.
It is lovely. It is absolutely lovely.
Yes.
But with that being said, one of my favorite things about cruising with Disney Cruise Line is, whether you book your dream cruise in an interior inside stateroom, or whether you book your dream cruise in the Tomorrow Tower Suite, your onboard experience is so similar. You still get that amazing entertainment, character access. You still get the lounges, the amazing pools. The pools on this ship. Wow. And that's one of my favorite parts of Disney is that regardless of what stateroom door you open at night to go night, your day is going to be amazing.
And that color palette choice that they made we toured the inside staterooms as well, and they feel larger because of the color choices that were made. I've been in inside staterooms in other cruise lines where you felt like you were in a cave. You didn't want to be in there any longer than you had to be. But the ones we toured felt very comfortable, and they were just as nice as the ocean view and ocean view with veranda and the suites, and it was fun. It was fun to see.
So let's transition. Let's talk about kind of some of those bars and lounges that you mentioned. And this is one of the biggest departures from the Wish in terms of, I think all of these were rethemed to be something different. And so we mentioned it early, kind of right off the bat, right there next to the main lobby, the grand hallway is the Scat Cat Lounge, and this is where Nightingale's, the piano bar, was. What's Nightingale's like? What were your impressions?
Scat Cat.
Scat Cat, sorry, yes.
Scat Cat. Scat Cat is adorable. I think that's going to be the it bar.
Oh wow!
I think people are gonna. The Haunted Mansion is going to be the one that everybody wants to check the box. But it's more of an experience and not a lounge where you hang out,
right?
And enjoy the entertainment and enjoy a drink and things. But I personally think Scat Cat is going to be the it bar on the ship. There's always one. There's always one that seems to be the busy bar.
Yeah.
And I believe that one has the potential to be that particular lounge. It's a beautiful, it's a fun, lively place. It's got a grand piano, and the piano player was amazing. And like I said, it opens up into the grand hall. So it feels really big on the inside because you have that view into the grand hall.
Which is very different from the Wish, because that being closed off, that feels like a really small room. So, and I love that, on the Dream class, on the Dream and the Fantasy, there is that main kind of bar right there
or something.
Yeah. And the Wish was definitely missing that to make that central hallway or main entry lobby. I don't know. My brain is fumbling over all of these words, but it made it feel more vibrant. Like there was much more going on. And so that's a fantastic change.
Yeah. The energy level in the grand hall is heightened by Scat Cat's entrance into, the two-way entrance into it. And then you go down the hallway and you've got the Haunted Mansion Lounge,
right?
Which, as Audie described, is more of an experience than it is a place that you can actually go and have a nice quiet drink.
I will be struggling to pull Alicia out of the Haunted Mansion Lounge.
It is something else. I mean, I'm not a huge Haunted Mansion aficionado, but you go in there and it's like you're in Gracie Manor. I mean, it just they pulled all the stops out for that one for sure. It will not disappoint you, Alicia.
No, it will not. And it was crazy how you walk in and whether you know the backstory of Haunted Mansion or not, you will enjoy the lounge. And whether you're a fan of the ride or not, you're going to enjoy this lounge because the experience is just so unique. You don't have to know all the little details that went into this and all the little Easter eggs that were put in there for Haunted Mansion fans. You don't have to understand any of that to go in and go, what is happening around me? It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So I got to enjoy a preview, and it can. So earlier, the first night we wanted to try to go in, and we opened the door, and it felt like a bit of a frat party in there because it was just like wall to wall people, and we went, no, we'll come back later. And so then the next day I had a preview scheduled, and there were maybe 10 people in there when I was in there. And so I got to stay in for no spoilers because I want everybody to be thrilled with this. But there's multiple special effects and stories that take place during on the lounge, and I got to stay in for 3 of them, and it was just I left thinking, how on earth did they do all of that?
Yeah.
But the attention to detail. The way they truly dug in and played to the strengths of the fans and the rides, but not just the world ride.
Yeah.
There's some fun in there for Disneyland Haunted Mansion.
cool.
fans.
Excellent.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
So it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Imagineers, I don't know how they can continue to do more, but this is a more spot for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Another kind of ride themed area is the Skipper Society, which is where the bayou is on the Wish. What was the Skipper Society like? That looks amazing from my perspective, from what we've seen on social media.
You know, I was. It felt like I was sitting. The corny jokes are everywhere. They're hidden all
Excellent.
over the decor.
Yeah.
It's that same type of feel as when you go to the Jungle Navigation Company Skipper Canteen. You know, the restaurant with the longest name ever. It has that same kind of feel in the servers that work in that area. They're kind of a little bit of the the dad jokesters.
Excellent.
But it's great. Even the names of the drinks and the beer, it was really cool. My favorite part though was the stage. So there's nightly performers in there, just like in
The bayou.
the Bayou.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's performers, but it's a small stage. They also do trivia and things like that during the day in that particular spot. But so instead of doing just like regular curtains, why would Disney want to do regular curtains? They have this hand carved wooden panel that is the main part of this stage, and the carvings are of all of the animatronic animals you see on the Jungle Cruise ride.
Oh, wow.
I sat there and went, "Oh look, it's the elephant! Look, it's the hippo!" I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. And I took several pictures of it, and I just haven't had a chance yet to study it because I know hidden somewhere in there is probably in the Jungle Cruise ride, the favorite with the three adventurers on the pole and
Yes.
the rhino. I keep thinking they've got to be in there.
Oh, I'm sure somewhere.
Yeah. But,
Well, and they have
so
the
much
frills
fun.
like the boat, the canopies of the boat are noticeable around the stage and around the bar. And they have the multicolored parrot lights, just like the attraction in the Skipper Canteen at World. But I will say it doesn't get the level of activity that Scat Cat and the Haunted Mansion do. It's kind of like the overflow where people are waiting, which is a shame because it is a really nice space, and that may change when regular guests are on board and there's more people trying to get to spots to sit and relax. But it was, of the three on that level, it was the least crowded.
Okay.
I
But
wonder
it
if
also
it's
had the most families in it.
most families in it. I was going to say, I wonder if it's because it's more of an open area.
Because you've got the open space, just like on the bayou on both sides of the hallway. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, the theming was spot on. They didn't miss a tick on that for sure.
No, and then the last one is the Periscope Pub.
Yeah.
And that is the one that's the sports bar sort of feel to it. And it was really cool. And again, for the old school Disney folks, there are just so many things. I mean, there's a Nautilus.
Yeah.
And the decor several times.
And a squid. A giant squid.
And a giant squid. And you feel like you're in a submarine, and there's this glass dome that's in the middle, and every now and then you'll see some sea life swim over the top of the water, top of the glass dome. It's really cool. It was really nice. We enjoyed that one. The food there is amazing. Our friend Chef John Ashton actually has a burger there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we looked at it and we went, "Look, John's burger." We were excited. And it's also a very tasty burger. So
Nice.
it's going to be a nice addition there. Fish and chips. So it had a great menu, and it has a very casual, relaxing feeling.
Yeah.
But the one thing about Periscope, it's always busy, but it also always looks like it's closed because the doors are super dark.
Right.
Because you're entering a submarine.
Right.
And so the whole, what it's not called the whole, the window.
portholes.
Thank you, porthole. I knew it was window and hole. I was getting it. Sorry, folks. Anyway, it's frosted, dark.
Got it.
And so you can't see into it from the hallway. And you have to really push the doors to get in. Yeah, I pulled several times. I wasn't getting and so you don't, I mean, it's kind of like this little hidden secret, but it's lovely. It's great.
I think that's one of the other adjustments that they made, if I remember correctly. Instead of that bar being kind of along that side wall, they shifted it kind of to the back, and it just opened up from what we've seen, that whole space. Is that what do you agree that it really made a good change?
Well, and the Keg and Compass is the bar on the Wish.
Right.
And it feels very, it actually feels very like an English pub to me. And I don't know if it's supposed to, but that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
It was nice, and I liked it. But for me, it was hard to find that Disney connection there.
Yeah.
You opened the doors to this one, and there's no doubt there are Disney connections.
You know exactly where you're at.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that was I think the ones on that level.
Yeah.
Well, Currents is amazing too, y'all. Best view, hands down. Currents, deck 14, forward.
Yep.
Great bartenders, Junior and Nathaniel. And it is just absolutely gorgeous. Has these great seating areas along either side of it. I would say if there's a drawback to this location, it's that the smoking area is next door to Currents.
Yeah.
So if the wind's, not blowing in your favor,
Right.
then there's that. But it is a great, great bar as well. The Rose, I love the subtle differences in the Rose from the Wish and the Treasure.
Yeah.
So the Rose, there's actually, that's the one that's up on 11 at Palo.
Yep.
Between Palo, it's the entry bar for Palo and Enchante.
Yeah.
And the Rose is gold. And so it's really gorgeous. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And instead of the rose petals that kind of flow behind you on the Wish, this one actually has some Beauty and the Beast references in the tower. So it's really cool.
That's
it's
awesome.
very pretty. It's lovely. My one and only wish on these two ships was that they didn't hide the check-in desk for Enchante and Palo. They're kind of like over in this little corner, like they're in timeout. And so you kind of come in and you're not really sure where you're supposed to go for those two beautiful spaces. And it takes a bit for you to go, oh, you guys are who I need to see.
Yeah.
So I would love to see for the next ship that they rethink that little area. But like Disney asked me what I think.
Probably not. I don't know. They invited you. Yeah, they invited you. Maybe they will. Maybe you'll get a call.
There's also the cafes on there. So there's the Jade Cricket Cafe and the Hey Hey Cafe.
Yeah.
Did you guys check those out at all?
Yes. Then that's the place to go if you need to plug in, to power up your technology while you're sipping on a juice or a coffie. They're both really the Hey Hey. One of our favorite pieces of art we discovered on our last day on board. They have, obviously because of the name, they have a statuette of Hey Hey on the bar, but there's a beautiful mural that you just kind of walk by. But if you stop and notice it, again, it's the individual. It's like that wall on Living on the Land Pavilion, with all those little individual small colored tiles. Well, they have a Pua and Hey Hey art piece there beside it. Plenty of all the spots along the bar have USB and fast charging stations. So it's a perfect location. And then the Jade Cricket doesn't have quite as many places to plug in, but it's well themed. It's accessible. It's the same as on the Wish, in terms of location and all that. But again, I think it's something with the color pattern that just makes it feel like it's bigger than what it really is. But very nice central locations.
Well, and all of the bars and lounges do have an accessible counter. So there's always seating for someone who is primarily uses a wheelchair. There's always seating there. So there's that lower bar. And I love that because it helps for folks who need to use that space to feel like they're still a part of the bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
They're
it's
not
really
isolated.
cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's great. How about Sarabi, the kind of Luna lounge replacement? I mean, it's the same thing. They didn't close in the upstairs, which I still think is a miss. But it looks absolutely stunning from what we've seen online. What were your thoughts of seeing that in person?
Wow is all I can take on is wow. Be sure and look for all the hidden Mickeys in there because they are plentiful. In the artwork around the stage, there's also Sarabe Lounge, and then there's Sarabe. So there's the theater that is that 2-story, and like you said, it's open view, and you know, and it's kind of one of those when you're watching a show, you don't really notice it. But I've we've never sat along one of those tables that's along the edge, and the wall is there for the round tables that would be at the hallway.
Right.
But it does feel very open. It's a little different. But Sarabe, the theming, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then the lounge is where they kind of do some of the, they'll do karaoke. They do some of the adult shows. There's a new show on the Treasure. What was it called? I'll remember it like 5 minutes from now. They were describing it a little, and it was like, oh, well, that's Disney kind of taking a new way to entertain adults.
Yeah.
It was called Would You Wonder, or How Would You Wonder, or anyway, it was a brand new kind of like game show they did.
Cool. The only time where it being really open felt odd was when they're doing some like Match Your Mate or something else that's very adult focused. And we were upstairs a couple times when that was happening late at night, and they have like family karaoke going on at the Triton Lounge behind it. I'm like, this is a little close for comfort, and not all these stories need to have a kid involved hearing them. So
yeah. I saw the Match Your Mate, and I think it was in I saw the screen.
Yeah.
But I think it was in the lounge, not the theater.
Oh,
So
interesting.
maybe they've swapped that.
Okay.
That's a good thing to notice.
Yeah.
We'll notice when we're on the ship next.
Food rotation. Let's talk about food for a little bit here. I know the new restaurant is the Plaza de Coco restaurant. How was that?
Well, I wish we could tell you.
Oh, no.
No, we did not get to experience it because that's the night we ended up in Palo. But I will tell you what the others have said.
Okay.
So the director who spoke to that, Ed, who was on the stage during the Q&A, and we did see the restaurant, and we saw the entry, we saw all of that.
Yeah.
We just didn't get to experience the show.
Right.
And so he said when they were designing and thinking this through, they really wanted to focus on family, but they also wanted to bring in the elements of Coco that people really resonated with, the Dia de los Muertos celebration. So of course, on a 7-night cruise, you are rotated through there at least twice.
Right.
And so your first night, it's your family is preparing for Dia de los Muertos. And so it's all of those things, the entertainment, the storytelling that's going on from the platform. All of those things are your family preparing for that celebration.
Okay.
And then the next time you dine in there, it's the actual celebration.
Got it. Very cool.
The costuming, stunning. We saw several people walking around. The costuming for that is absolutely incredible. And just, again, the attention to detail. When you walk in, what you're treated to is the Rivera family's shoe shop.
Right.
And so, like, there's shoe working benches right there. And then pictures of all of the different aunts and uncles, the tias and tios, they're all up on the wall. And all of the different abuelas are there. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. All I could say was, I can't even imagine how you guys thought all of this through.
Yeah.
But it was really beautiful.
Did
really
you notice
beautiful.
any significant changes for the Worlds of Marvel or 1923?
No.
19, no, not really. The World of Marvel, it's a different show.
Right.
And that's what we know. And we didn't mind the show. I will say, there's very few things that I think Disney missed on this one. And I still just wish, Disney, if you're listening, turn down the music in Marvel so that you can actually talk to the people across the table.
Yeah.
It's still very loud.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of one of those, your kids, if it's too loud, then,
You're
you
too old.
should just, then you're too old. And so I tell Tim all the time, I think I'm just too old for this restaurant. At the ripe old age of 63, I don't appreciate the loud music. I did like the fact that the screen was a little less a part of every moment
Okay.
you were in the restaurant.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. And 1923 is just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just absolutely beautiful. It's fun. It's gorgeous. I love all the little different dining rooms because it feels a little quieter.
Yeah.
A theme going on with the dining.
Yeah, exactly.
But it felt a little quieter and a little more, to use Tim's word, approachable.
Right.
So rotational dining was great.
Were the menus slightly different? It looked like the from what we've seen on the preview cruises, it looks like it was a different menu from what we remember on the Wish. But I'm just wondering if maybe that's the B night menu, whereas the Wish is the A night, or maybe it's vice versa. But maybe that same menu will still be there.
I'm not sure. So I do know, because we asked our server,
Yeah.
I do know that they were repeating these menus on the previews.
Right.
But that the crew got to experience the full 7-night menu when they had the cast.
Right.
And he said, and we were told that much like on the normal cruises, everything is going to change. It rotates. It's very different. But then there was also some of those familiar
Sure.
things that people love.
Yep.
So, I thought it was, and the food was really good.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say that with a surprise, but the food was really good. But it was very nice.
Are there any new food offerings up on deck?
I love Marceline Market.
Yeah.
I love that space. I enjoy the food there. I love the way it's laid out. I love how it creates that flow, and you never feel like you are obligated to stand in a line that you shouldn't be standing in.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate that space a lot.
It feels a lot less like a cafeteria. It feels like a food court where there's lots of individual stations versus Cabanas always feels like it's just an institutional cafeteria writ large on a ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And one of my favorite parts about the Marceline Market is, so if you go in on the port side, the left side,
Yes.
and you know how mostly there's the seating around where the food is served from?
Right.
Well, on the port side, at the very front, if you take a hard left when you walk into Marceline Market, there are two really large dining rooms that are not anywhere near the food.
Oh, cool.
And so it's it's again quiet, but
Right.
also there's less foot traffic. You don't feel like that heat from the food areas.
Yeah.
And it still has the drink stations. It still has all of that. It feels more like you've walked into like a part of somebody's house, as opposed to, the streets of Marceline, which is what that is area is particularly themed for. And then the quick service is just cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same options I think on deck 11 were still, the chicken and the tacos and the pizza and the hot dogs and the hamburgers. So that part felt very much the same. But I don't remember the Marceline Market being, I thought on the Treasure it seemed, the quality seemed to be pretty high.
Cool.
Better than I remembered. We were really looking to go there as often as we could. I mean, it was just really fresh and a great deal of variety being offered up there.
Excellent.
And I actually think those two areas away from the food are on both sides of the ship, but on the starboard side, it was used as a staging area for hospitality. And so we didn't get to see it at all. But
Right.
I think it's identical on that side. I just don't know because we didn't have access to it.
Got it.
Are Palo and Enchante the same as they are on the Wish?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
they
I
are.
think Enchante is a little lighter.
Okay.
It's following that same idea and the treasure in that everything is just a little lighter in coloring. They're both beautiful spaces, absolutely beautiful spaces. One thing we did notice, so on the Disney Wish, the private dining room in Enchante only seats 8, whereas the private dining room in the Disney Treasure on Enchante seats 10. Whereas the private dining room in Palo is still going to have a max capacity of 10.
Okay. Got it. All right, let's talk some shows. I think Seize the Adventure is the same that's over on the Wish, so we won't, whatever. I'm assuming you went to go see Moana?
I can't even. Number one, it's like, again, how does Disney do this?
Yeah.
And then number two, I told Jen, who is the vice president of live entertainment for Disney Cruise Line, I told her, I don't know whether to say thank you or thanks a lot, because now I need to bring all 5 of my grands and watch Moana on the ship with them, because it is just that spectacular.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see that.
The puppetry is just absolutely magical.
Yeah.
How they got Taka to turn into Tafiti is just mind-blowing. And then, it's a Broadway production, so they can't do a lot of that different things that you do in animation, to make the ocean. But so you got to make the ocean move the boat and all that stuff. And it's all done in this beautiful dancing. It's just like poetry in motion.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. And the performers, holy moly, the young lady who was Moana, to be very honest, I cried a couple of times. I held my breath a few times. It is. I walked out and I told, I was with a couple of the Disney sales teams, and I looked at the folks that I was with and I went, instant classic.
Yeah.
You know how when you guys pulled the Genie show off of the Magic, and how people just cried and pitched a fit? Trust me, when Moana's tail of is pulled, years and years and years from now, there will be people pitching a fit, because it was an instant classic. It was beautiful.
That's
Absolutely
fantastic.
beautiful.
We just saw the Jack Skellington, 20 foot tall puppet at Jollywood Nights that they're doing now, just a few weeks ago. And that was amazing. And I can only imagine what they're going to do with Tafiti and Taka. I'm so excited to
Before your
see that
very
show.
eyes, she transforms. Before your very eyes, and you go, wait, how did that happen? I didn't blink. It's phenomenal. She goes from toddler Moana to young Moana to teenage Moana, and toddler Moana is a puppet.
Right.
Young Moana and teenage Moana are all live actors.
Right.
And it happens right as you're watching it. And
That's cool. I am so excited to see this show.
Yes. It is stunning, to
Yeah.
say the least. It is absolutely stunning.
And then the third show is Beauty and the Beast. Were they running that?
They were.
Okay.
So those were the three. Those were the three shows, and the Beauty and the Beast is very similar to what you see on the other ship.
Yep.
But of course, because this theater is newer, bigger, grander, a lot of the special effects are different and updated. A lot of that puppetry and things that you see in Moana have been incorporated into Beauty and the Beast. And so while it's super familiar to those who have been on the Disney Magic, right? The Magic
Dream.
has
I think
Dream.
it's a dream.
Dream?
Yeah.
It's I know which one.
Well, who knows? Who could keep up with
It
things?
will be familiar in the actual performance and songs, but the special effects are very different. It's beautiful.
Cool.
How about the decks and the pools? Are there any changes from the Wish to the Treasure?
I don't know that there's changes as much as, because again, we were on the Wish. It was a 3-night cruise, and we were with our team, and so it felt like a work trip for me. And I didn't get to see the pools as much as I had hoped to. But the pools on the Treasure are phenomenal. I mean, my favorite little spot we found was the Chippendale pool, which is deck 10 forward, 13 forward. It kind of felt like the pool and the adult-only area on the Fantasy that has that, the little swirly pool and those chairs you can sit in. But this is a family spot. The splash zone, so cute. Why will they let us play? It's so cute. It's the Toy Story characters. And they're just so adorable. I just wanted to run in and hug them. They're so cute. But the pools are beautiful. Pools are beautiful.
Is the adult pool, the cove area and everything, is that the same off in the back of the ship and nowhere to get there if it's raining and not get soaking wet?
No, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That part still holds true. But that area is still very popular.
Yeah.
I mean, that infinity pool was packed on Castaway Key Day because the secret's out. You can enjoy a beautiful, relaxing day and not leave the ship. And, so it's really pretty. And I love that in most of the lounges and bars now too, they have iPads to order from. And so it's really fun. And so in the Cove Cafe, it's really quiet because of its location. And I keep saying quiet, y'all. I'm sorry. Because of its location, because it's a little more, you have to be very purposeful to get there. But it's really easy to access the menu and stuff. It's nice.
Cool. All right. We had put a pin in it. We're going to take that pin off the wall and let's talk kids clubs.
Okay, I got to tell you my favorite part.
Yeah.
So on deck
3?
So the kids club and 3.
Yeah.
The kids club entrance is on deck 2, and it's beautiful. It's just so gorgeous. But on deck 3 is a slide into the kids club. And if you were the size of a child, you could ride the slide. Oh, I rode it over and over and over and over. It's super fast too. But it was fun to listen to the crew. They said that's their favorite way to change shifts. Because, there is a check-in desk at the slide. Obviously, you have to check in order to slide, because the slide goes into the club.
Right.
And it is so much fun. It is just adorable. It's like, why can't we have slides throughout the whole
Where's
trip?
our slide?
Why can't we?
I did that on the Wish. I did do the slide on the Wish.
It's so much fun.
Yes.
But just like the Wish, the walls, there's the murals painted on the walls that lead into the kids club. So the interior of the kids club is similar, but yet it's different enough. They still have that. I call it the shout out to the days when they had the build your own roller coaster thing at Epcot.
Yes.
Because you can build your ride and ride the ride in the kids club. It's fun. It's a Small World nursery. I love the way Disney. I mean, if you're my height, which is 4'11" when I stand up really tall, then everything is eye level for me if I just squat down a little. But for littles, when they walk in or crawl around, all of that excitement is eye level.
Yeah.
For them, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And then the Oceaneers lab has the Imagineering lab again. And that's where kind of the creative, fun, crafty, learn how to draw things go. There's the cargo bay. Cargo bay? That's the Star Wars area.
Yeah.
There's a porg nest. There's a porg nest. And the little mama porg flaps her arms and the little eggs wobble. It's so cute. It's so cute. And then the Marvel has that interactive, you can join a mission and choose who you want to be and whose team you want to be on. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it's all very similar to what's on the Wish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And talking about attention to details. So the little bathroom area for the kids.
Yeah.
There's not closing doors. They're just individual stalls that are kind of in this U shape.
Yep.
And again, it's different characters that are painted on the door outside of the little area where where the little tiny potty is. But when you, like the Sully door,
Right.
when you open the Sully door, the tile behind the tiny potty is all Sully colors.
Oh, cool.
They're all individually
When you
themed.
open the door that was the Woody door, the tile is all colors of Woody. And so it's like
Yeah.
a
That's cool.
little kid is going to really care. But
Right.
for the rest of us, we're going, take a picture. They thought of this, even this. That's cool.
All right. So overall, I think I know the answer to this question. Is the treasure a win?
It is a home run.
Yeah.
It is an absolute home run. Disney hit it out of the park on this one. It is a nod, again, it's a nod to that original quest of Walt Disney to bring stories to life and to let people adventure and see the world. And that's what it is. It's you really are. And it's not that you're immersed in the story. You are welcomed into the story.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely stunning. How they can do more with the Destiny is beyond me, but I'm sure they will.
Yep. So we have to ask, the other thing we put a pin in was, how does the treasure compare to the Wish? And you were mentioning beforehand, before we hit record, that the Wish at this point compared to the treasure kind of reminds you of another cruise line. Do you want to kind of retell that story?
No, probably not. But so again, when we went on the Wish, we were with our team, and so
Right.
it was a working trip for me, and so I was running from one spot to the other. So it felt to me, I know that it got panned quite a bit because it felt so different than the other Disney ships.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a lot of disjointed spaces.
Yes.
Which were like a lot of the other major cruise lines. They don't necessarily flow a theme from stem to stern,
Right.
and from port to starboard. They have different areas that are their own little space.
Right.
And that's what the Wish felt like to me. And so, yes, it did feel like a totally different cruise line
Yeah.
when we were on it. But after giving more thought to the Wish, and as we've now experienced the treasure,
Yeah.
I think the Wish, it feels very regal and royal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you feel like you're a guest at that place.
Right.
But when you are on the treasure, you feel like a welcomed part of the story and not an observer. You know, like if you go to Buckingham Palace, you're not going to feel like you belong in Buckingham Palace.
Right.
So on the Wish, it just has that much more formal, regal, royal feel to it.
Yeah.
So she has her own different vibe.
Yep.
Whereas the treasure, it truly does feel more like a place where you belong. It's home.
I love it.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Where does the treasure land in your ranking of the Disney ships?
Oh, now I'm going to get in trouble. So to all my crew members on the Wonder and the Magic, you know I love you. You know I love you. The classics will always be special to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling the treasure is going to be my new number one.
Yeah.
I feel like a traitor saying that. But with that being said, as somebody who's sailed a few times with Disney Cruise Line, I probably won't book the treasure over and over for me personally, only because the itineraries are going to be similar.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be Eastern Western.
Yeah.
Whereas the Magic and the Wonder, they take you to places far and beyond.
Yeah.
And so that will always be an attraction for us.
Yes. Well, we are like you. We are huge fans of the Wonder and the Magic as well, and we can't wait to see what new things they're able to do with those ships when we have 11 other ships in the fleet. What new things can we do with these little small ones? Well, little quote unquote 967 foot long ships. What new things can we do with those? Can we put a ship on the West Coast permanently, please? Things like that. It'll be exciting to see where this goes. So
it will be, and and I think Disney is going to have to be very creative in what they do with their ships when they're a fleet of 13.
Yeah.
Especially when they are a fleet of 13 with ships the sizes of the ships. Because the Adventure. I mean, in 2025, there's going to be 2 brand new ships that are introduced into the fleet.
Yes, within a few weeks of each other, I think. They're both at the end of the year.
So that's just mind blowing to me. And then after that, there will be more to come, and all like bam, bam, bam. So it'll be fun. I say the same thing. Are we going to get a ship permanently in Texas? I sure hope so. But we'll see.
Is there anything about the treasure that you can think of that we didn't cover?
No, I really can't. The one thing I know for sure is the treasure is going to be the kind of destination that you could probably sail 2 or 3 times and still discover new things.
Yeah.
Because there's so much detail. There's so much thought that went into designing the ship that I really do. I feel like you could go on it multiple times, and even those itineraries are going to be familiar. I think it'll be a destination in itself.
Yeah,
which will be wonderful because we are sailing again in January on the Treasure.
Oh, nice.
As real guests. So, and I'm looking forward to it not being a working cruise.
Yeah. Yeah, and having 7 days to look at all that stuff. I mean, to your point, there's a lot of really neat stuff across the Wish, and it's really hard to take all that in, whether it's a working cruise or not. Even just as a regular paying guest, trying to experience everything on the Wish in a 3-night cruise or even a 4-night cruise is just really, really difficult. I can't wait to sit and live and experience everything that's on the Treasure over the course of a week or 2 or 3 or 4. We'll see what happens as the things go on.
We just have a week at this point. That's
well, I'm looking over a 30-year time span.
Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, Audie, Tim, sorry we lost you at least a little bit on microphone. Your machine died, your computer died, but appreciate you coming into the room. Thank you so much for coming on. It was such a great opportunity. Yeah. We are even more excited than we were when we woke up this morning to get on the Treasure.
Good.
Yeah.
Can you tell people where they can find you?
Well, we are travel agents affiliated with the Magic for Less Travel. You can find us at themagicforless.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Tim and Audie Lawley, Land and Cruise Travel Planners, or you can always just reach out by email, lawley@themagicforless.com, and it's just all spelled out. Unlike we always like to say, we love to travel. We probably travel a little too much, but it's everybody has their addiction.
Yes.
And but we love to just help people travel, and we'll answer questions. If you have a general question about the Treasure, please don't hesitate to reach out. If we don't know the answer, we will work to find it for you. And it doesn't mean you have to be a client or a guest of ours too. We just love to help people see the world.
Well, you guys are our role models in travel for sure. I think we have 4 cruises booked over the next 15 months or so. So, we're taking your tips to heart for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again. We will talk to you all real soon, I'm sure.
Okie doke. You guys have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Please remember, we are not affiliated with Disney or their subsidiaries. These are personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney directly to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have questions or suggestions or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your Disney experience, please send an email to podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
You can follow us on socials. We are at Our Mousecapades. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and YouTube.
Please do give us a rating and review in your podcast app. It really helps people find us.
And of course, don't hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thanks for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.